Ethics contains objectives, introduction, Vedic and Vedantic school of ethics, doctrine of karma, transmigration of soul, supreme goals, purusharth, social stratification, varnashram dharma, ethics in Buddhism, ethics in Jainism, hedonism in ethics of Chavark. Let us sum up. Now briefly introduce in objectives. The objective of this study on Indian ethics is to give a short survey of the ethical foundation of Hindu religious philosophy and of other philosophical schools of India like Buddhism, Jainism and Chavark. The primary purpose of this unit is to impart the religious and moral instruction to the students of philosophy and to make them aware of the principles of religions, and finally to make them adopt certain good principles and avoid certain disturbing elements in order to create a healthy and a peaceful society. Introduction. Traditional Indian thinking is mainly spiritualistic with a firm belief that man has a soul within him as his real being. The soul aspect of human person puts before him a goal higher than any other goal to which our natural physical inclination lead. So man has to adopt a particular point of view which helps him go towards the higher spiritual plane, the plane of his real inner being, soul. So adopting the moral point of view is the apt human point of view to attain the goal of the inner being of man, namely soul. Vedic and Vedantic school of ethics. Here we shall discuss on an outline of the ethical vision and moral content of 5 representative Vedic and Vedantic texts, namely Vedas, the Upanishad, the law of Manu, the Gita and the Ramayana. The beginnings of ethical vision is traced from the Vedas, particularly Rig Veda. Concept of Rith, the concept of Dharma and the concept of Karma become the central moral principles emerging from the Vedas. In the Upanishad, the Atman-centric understanding of morality takes precedence. The self-realization as moksha is the highest goal reached by good conduct and pursuit of knowledge. The Smriti literatures like Shastra, especially Dharma Shastra, and are moral codes and law books for the Vedic and Vedantic tradition. The practical guidelines and strict injunctions are found for human conduct with respective rights and duties in Manu Smriti, although from the caste categories. The Dharma Shastra epics and the Puran have their own specific goal, but they seem to share more or less a common ethos from the point of ethics. The epics teach ethical ideals and thoughts of Hindu system. Much celebrated text of Bhagavad Gita focuses on moral action coupled with attaining Brahmajnana. Gita emphasizes both Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga for the attainment of the supreme bliss. Besides all the scriptural texts, the philosophical school of Vedic and Vedantic tradition have focused well on the ethical concept and conduct based on their metaphysical and epistemological position. Putting them all in one category, despite the subtlety of differences, we have the following concept. Doctrine of karma. Karma is of four categories. First, sanchit karma, which means the accumulated past action. Prarabdha karma, second prarabdha karma, which means the part of sanchit karma. This results in the present birth itself. This is also called predestination. Number third, kriyaman karma, which means present willful action or free will. Number four, agami karma, which means the immediate result caused by our present action. There is another version of the meaning of karma. This word karma simply means action, and this karma must remind us that what is called the consequence of an action is really not a separate thing, but it is a part of the action and it cannot be divided from it. The consequence is the part of the action which belongs to the future, but yet the part is done in the present. For instance, when a person is wounded at the time of accident, he will not feel any pain, but after some time when he is quiet, he will feel the pain. Pain is the part of the action falling down and wounding, but it is felt later, though done in the present. When a man sins, he feels no suffering at the time of sinning, but later he feels the suffering. Thus we can conclude the theory of karma saying whatever a man sows he shall reap. Transmigration of soul. Transmigration of soul. The doctrine of karma and transmigration of soul are so closely bound up together. After the death of the body, the life of the individual is continued in another body, and so on in indefinite series. According to this theory, the soul, though pure and blessed in itself, gets entangled in the samsara cycle of birth and rebirth. It is because of the karma it passes through innumerable birth, transmigration, before it regains its original state. The purpose and mechanism of rebirth is elaborated in the Chandogya Upanishad. According to Chandogya Upanishad, a man after his death reaches the moon with the merit he has acquired during his life. He remains there as long as there is residue of his good works, and then he returns to space. From space he goes to mist and cloud, etc. After having become cloud he rains down. Then he is born as rice, trees, beans, etc. If someone or the other eats him as food, he develops further, and finally those who are of pleasant conduct enter either the womb of a Brahmin or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya, and those who are of stinking conduct enter either the womb of a dog or a swine or of an outcast Chandal. Supreme goals, Purusarth. Supreme goals meaning Purusarth. The dominant interest of the Indian thought is in the highest value of human life. There are four values which give meaning to human life. They are called Purusarth: Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Dharma. The term Dharma gathered more and more meaning down the ages, and it became a term of complex and varied meanings. For Dharma, the dictionary suggests the term like virtue, rightness, duty, right, morality, justice, good, characteristics, tradition, ordinance, and law etc. But dharma is essentially a human value operating in the universe of human ideals. The Brahadaranyaka Upanishad identifies dharma with truth. That which is justice is truth, and justice and truth are the same. Shankara, in his own way, interrelates the three concepts Rit, Satya, and Dharma. He says Rit is the mental perception of truth, Satya is the expression of truth in words as perceived by the mind, Dharma is the observance of truth in the conduct of life. And thus dharma is the way of life embodying the truth perceived. Dharma is usually distinguished into sadharan dharma and varnashram dharma. Sadharan dharma refers to the duties of the universal scope and validity. There are 10 cardinal virtues known as sadharan dharma according to Manu: endurance, patience, self-control, integrity, purity, restraint of senses, wisdom, learning truth, and absence of anger or non-violence. The varnashram dharma refers to the duties of persons according to the caste and the stages of life. Thus, dharma is considered to be a means for attaining personal integration in the spiritual level or liberation. Earth, wealth. The term earth generally indicates the attainment of riches and worldly prosperity, advantage, profit, and wealth. It means the whole range of tangible objects that can be possessed, enjoyed, or lost, and which we require in daily life for the upkeep of a household, raising of a family, and discharge of religious duties. By the term Artha, Kautilya in his book Arthashastra 4:9 means both economic and the political aspects of man's life in the society. The materialistic aspects of life have great significance because the absence of economic well-being of man is a great hindrance to the pursuit of personality integration and good life. Absence of economic well-being may also lead a man to adopt or to do immoral deeds to satisfy himself. The Mahabharata stresses the great importance of wealth, saying that poverty is a state of sinfulness. All kinds of meritorious acts flow from the possession of great wealth. From wealth springs all religious acts, pleasures, and heaven itself. From wealth one's merit increases, but the man who has no wealth has neither this world nor that next. The man who has no wealth succeeds not in performing religious acts. Kautilya in Arthashastra recommends that the state should punish those who renounce the world without having first satisfied the claims of society and family. Kautilya would not even allow ascetics to enter into the villages of the kingdom for fear that they may cause disturbance in the economic economic activities of the villagers. Hindu philosophers are not uncritical about the admirers of wealth, nor are they fanatical supporters of its abolition. They say virtue themselves are impractical without wealth. Without wealth, neither virtue nor desire can be won. Calm, satisfaction of desires. Calm is a comprehensive term which includes all desires. Desires ranging from the cravings of the flesh and the yearning of the spirit. The Hindu view is that man should only gradually overcome the insistent craving of the flesh. The only human end is the attainment of pleasures, and the Hindu view holds very strongly, and it is an accepted principle that any spiritual aspirant should not try to achieve his realization by forcibly starving his normal biological desire. That is to say, he should not suppress the desires of the flesh very violently. In Hindu thought, there is always a clear emphasis on the enjoyment of secular pleasures along with the emphasis on the realization of spiritual value. Vatsyayan in his book Kam Sutra gives a great treatise on erotic enjoyment. It deals with the various aspects of sex life and the natural striving of human heart. However, Vatsyayan suggests that the satisfaction of sexual desires are to be followed with moderation and caution. Hindu philosophers do not exclude any one of the branches of human enjoyment, sex or arts, singing, playing on musical instruments, dancing, writing, drawing, tattooing, coloring the hair, nail and so on. The uniqueness of the concept of calm and enjoyment in the Hindu ethics is that all of them are to be related to the spiritual goal of human existence, and so the Indian ethics insisted on a regulated enjoyment. Moksha, liberation. Moksha meaning liberation. In every school of philosophy in India, the first three purusharths are treated as the instrumental value, which directly or indirectly promote the param purusharth, the highest value of human life, namely moksha. Moksha is also known as by other names such as mukti, aparavya, kaivalya and nirvana. The concept moksha as a negative as well as positive side. In its negative aspect, it signifies complete freedom from sorrow, and in its positive aspect, it stands for the plenary happiness or bliss. In the Vedic age, the idea of mukti was not in evidence. What the Vedic man sought was length of days on earth and life in heaven in company with gods. But it was in the Upanishad for the first time we find the full-fledged doctrine of mukti or liberation. The liberation is intimately bound up with the karma sansara. The doctrine of transmigration, almost all Indian schools of thoughts accepted the theory of karma and rebirth, and the ideal of moksha is conceived as liberation from the cycle of birth and death. As an ideal, moksha is pursued by an individual as a personal value. It is a spiritual perfection understood by the intellect, loved by the will and actualized in the daily life. It is understood as Jivan Mukti in Advaita Vedanta. The man who has attained liberation in this life is called Jivan Mukta. Different schools propose different ways to attain moksha. Advait Vedanta of Sankara holds that knowledge or Gyan is the means of attaining moksha. Here, moksha refers not to a new state to be attained, but it is realization of what has always been, namely the realization of the universal self Brahman in one's own self, Atman. For this, no morality is needed. The dualistic and pluralistic systems insist that the bondage of the individual can be removed by the bhakti marg or path of devotion to God. There is another way promoted by the Gita to attain the ultimate realization in life and liberation from the cycle of birth and death, which is known as Karma Yoga, path of activity. The Gita has described the way as the method of disinterested action, Niskam Karma. When disinterested action means Niskam Karma. To attain moksha, one has to be freed from the bondage to one's own action. Thus, the Gita suggests a golden rule that actions should be done with the spirit of non-attachment to their fruits. From all this understanding of moksha, one thing is clear, that moksha cannot be reached by bypassing morality or ignoring it, and a good life is indispensable and absolutely necessary for attaining spiritual perfection and moksha. We will also know in other parts of this session of ethics. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe the Philosophy Partner channel and press the bell icon for more updates. Thank you.